I had just gotten home on Friday, excited for the weekend. My wife was there, but she wasn't her usual self. Instead of greeting me with a smile, she seemed nervous and serious. I knew something was wrong. "Hi, honey," I said, then paused and asked, "Is something wrong? Where are the kids?" The kids should have been home since it was Friday, but she told me they were with her mom until Monday. She then said, "John, I need to talk to you. I have something to tell you, and I need you to listen and try to understand." She looked down and added, "This is going to be really hard for me to say." Seeing my worry, she tried to calm me down. "It's not something bad, but it might be hard for you to understand at first. But if you think about it, and if you love me, you'll try to understand. Can you do that for me?" she asked. Her voice was almost pleading. "I guess so. I will try to understand," I said. "Thank you," she said. "John, it's something that's been on my mind for a long time. Something that at first may sound dumb, strange. Okay, John, I want to have sex with other men." "Huh, what?" I started to laugh, but the look in her eyes did not invite humor. I stopped. "You're serious, aren't you? You're divorcing me? Is that it?" No, no," she cried. "I love you more than anything. I will never leave you. John, you can be sure of that. This is just something that I need to do. Since I refuse to cheat on you or sneak around, I need you to try to understand why I need to do this. I need you to agree to give me this chance. Can you understand what I'm saying?" At first, I was speechless, but then I started to feel something else, anger. "Understand? No, I don't understand," I said, "and I don't agree to any of this." She replied, "John, I'm going to do this whether you like it or not. I was hoping you could understand this need I have. I have never cheated on you, and I am not going to do so now. I am letting you know up front. I promise to take precautions and to deny you nothing in our bed." But she could see my mind was wandering. I wasn't hearing her anymore, or maybe I was. I just wasn't reacting like she thought I should. "John Mason, are you hearing me? This has nothing to do with us." "Nothing? Am I clear?" She paused and watched for my reaction. I didn't move. I just sat there staring. I appeared to be all but catatonic. My wife of 17 years had just destroyed me and expected me to actually like it, or at least tolerate it. I didn't and I wouldn't, not ever. "John, I need this. I am getting to the stage in life where I really need this. Please understand. I was a virgin when we married. I've never been with another man. Before I met you, I hardly even kissed anyone. I really need to understand what it's like sex. I need to experience the difference. It's only about sex, not love. I only love you." I just stared at her, too afraid to say anything. I wanted to kill her. My wife wanted to explore other men. Not even a man, but men. The most shocking part of the whole mess, and it was a big-ass mess, was that she expected me to be okay with it. "John, say something," said his wife. "Veronica." I couldn't finish. I rose and headed upstairs to the bedroom. Our bedroom, what had been our bedroom. Now it was nothing to me. I was sick and broken spiritually. My body was devoid of sensation. I was giddy with fear. It had only taken her 15 minutes, maybe less, to destroy our marriage. I sat on the bed thinking, or rather trying to think. I knew I had to get out of the house and away from my wife, a wife that was about to cuckold me. And she was going to do it. How had she phrased it? Whether I liked it or not. I had been a marathon runner in college. Running or long range, walking always helped me to clarify my thinking. I decided to take a long walk. I changed out of my suit and into comfortable jeans, a Henley, and my $200 running shoes. I grabbed my wallet, a cap, and my sunglasses, then headed downstairs. Veronica was still sitting where she had been when she told me she wanted to explore sex with other men. I stopped and stared at her again. She felt like a stranger to me. With my hand on the doorknob, I asked, "Who are you?" Then I turned and walked out the door. She called out, "John, where are you going?" But I slammed the door behind me and walked quickly. I was already past the neighbor's house when I heard her shouting for me to come back and talk. She caught up and walked beside me until she was out of breath. "John, where are you going? We need to talk. I love you. I'm not doing this to hurt you. There's still something between us. Really, I love you. John." She eventually gave up, and I think she collapsed on the sidewalk, but I didn't turn around to check. I couldn't look at her. She was in no way able to maintain the pace I was setting. I could still do a marathon in under than 3 hours, no sweat. Soon I was 2 blocks up the street, and she was no longer anywhere to be seen. I turned the corner and changed gears. I went into overdrive. as I called it. I was cruising. I could go forever at this pace, and maybe I would. We'd met in college. She was handing out cups of water to participants in a 10K tri-meet. I had one to race that day. I had one, I later told her, because I was trying to get back to find her before she got away from me. I had caught her just in time, just before she would have been lost in the crowd of fans, family members, and supporters. We'd hit it off immediately. She was a secretary to the dean of the business school. She'd never finished college, but she had managed to land a sinecure of a job because of her attention to detail and her ability to navigate around the printed word. I was a grad student at the time in electronics and computer science, a double major. We dated for 6 months before we had sex. Then it was mind-blowing. Even though she was a virgin, the girl really enjoyed sex. Looking back, I realized she had a natural tendency for it, but she never acted on it before. After we met, we dated for about 14 months before getting married. Just after I graduated, I was 26, and Ronnie was 27, still a virgin at that age. Our children, Callie and John Jr., were born in the 9th and 10th years of our marriage, and we were doing well. Ronnie was still working as a secretary for the dean, and I was a computer systems engineer at Peters Limited, a company focused on cutting-edge research and development for the military. My boss and the owner of Peters Limited was Bill Schuler, a 60-ish bachelor with an almost manic work ethic. Bill and I were not merely boss and employee. We were close friends. Veronica and I had now been married 17 wonderful years, or so I had thought. That is, I had thought that they had been wonderful. Evidently, Veronica thought otherwise. During the past several months, Ronnie had become, well, inside, no big G, just kind of short with me on occasion and less often with the children as well. This last had caused a couple of pretty heated arguments. Being short with me was one thing, but not with the children. I wasn't going for that. I considered that she might be going through the change of life. I didn't know much about female biology, though I knew a few basics. I had always meant to learn more, but never got around to it. Now, as I walked, I wished I had. Veronica said, "I don't know where your brother is." "Roberta, Bobby. He just walked out of the house, and I haven't seen him since 5 p.m. on Friday. That's why I called you. I've been really worried and frantic, Bobby." "Bobby, what am I going to do?" Roberta Mason could have been my wife's twin, and they had more than once been taken as sisters. Both had flowing red hair, curvaceous figures, and the cutest freckles that any man could want. Roberta was maybe an inch taller than Ronnie at 5'7", but otherwise they were near clones of each other. But Bobby was very different in personality. She was tough-minded, slow to speak unless challenged to do so, and still single at age 40. She wasn't gay, but she liked being independent, and so she was. "Are we talking about our John, my brother?" said Roberta Mason. "This is not like him." We had a little tiff, and he just up and walked out. I tried to get him to talk to me, but he wouldn't, said Veronica. "Ronnie, we'll find him. I don't know what you two argued about, but if he walked out on you and his children, it had to have been something pretty bad." "I don't suppose you'd like to enlighten me," said Bobby. "It's personal," said Veronica. "And it was certainly nothing that should have caused him to leave us. I told him a dozen times I loved him. Why can't he get that through his head? Well, I don't know, but when we find him, I'm going to find out." "Well, you sure took your time calling me," Roberta said with a bit of sarcasm. "He's got a 2-day head start." Although Roberta and Veronica got along fine, Roberta, being a psychologist, always thought Veronica was a bit scatterbrained. "Which way did he go?" Roberta asked. "He was on foot," Veronica replied. "He headed east toward Baxter, wearing a dark green T-shirt and jeans." "A Cubs baseball cap, too, I think," said Veronica. "His coat?" prompted Roberta. "No, he wasn't wearing a coat." "Jesus, Ronnie, it's freezing out there." "He didn't take a coat. He didn't drive his car." "Well, he couldn't have gotten far. We should be able to find him." "Toward Baxter." "Yes. Well, he can't be heading there. It's more than 100 miles away." "But you say in that general direction." "Okay, stay here and man the phone in case he calls." "I have my cell. Keep me informed," said Roberta. "I will," said Veronica. The road was icy, so Roberta Mason was driving under the speed limit. She was 10 miles out of town when her cell rang. She pulled over to answer the call. "He's where? In Baxter? Oh my God. All right, I'm heading there," Roberta said and hung up. The lockup in Baxter, a small town of about 150 people, rarely had anyone staying there. But tonight I was there, and I didn't care. The meal was hot, and the cell was warm. Life couldn't get any better than this, I thought sardonically. I heard the steel door at the end of the hall clang open. I couldn't see who was coming, but the footsteps alerted me to someone coming to see me. I was the only prisoner in the place, so it had to be me. "Well, sailor," said my sister, "are you proud of yourself?" I stared. "So she called you," I said. "Yes. I was already on the road looking for you. You better have a damn good reason for gallivanting around the countryside on foot with no coat. You know you have little ones and a wife at home worried sick about you," said Roberta. "Yeah, right," I said sarcastically. "The kids may be, but not Veronica. She didn't tell you, did she?" "No, I guess not," said Roberta, her eyes narrowing. "She just said you had a tiff, and then you left. She said she begged you not to go. Nothing like half-truths to dump the blame off on somebody else. Well, we did have a little tiff, as she calls it. It was kind of hard for me to avoid since she announced that she intended to fuck other men whether I liked it or not," I said. Roberta's face betrayed nothing. "What did you say?" Did I stutter? "She told me of her plans to fuck around on me whether I liked it or not. I had to get out of there. So here I am all warm and cozy," I said. The guard opened my cell door and shook his head. I think he felt sympathetic toward me. We started walking toward the front receiving area. "You've been bailed out, but you'll need to come back by Friday to enter your plea," said Morgan, the jailer, as he handed me a paper. I didn't even bother to look at it. I could do that later. "Just pay the fine next Friday. It's only a misdemeanor. You'll have to cover the damage costs, but then it'll be over," he added. I nodded, understanding his advice. The bar fight had been minor, but a couple of chairs and a table got broken, along with a mirror. The bartender, a pretty decent-looking woman, pointed me out as the troublemaker, so they took me in. I deserved it. I made no protest. I was too drunk to say anything coherent in any event. On the 2-hour-plus drive back, my sister grilled me. Having told her my story, she was silent for some time. Then she began her analysis. I was her patient, and she was going to help whether I liked it or not. Women, John, women, go through changes men can't understand. It's a hormonal thing. It frightens us. It can make us feel insecure. Lots of things, she said. I'm not an idiot, Bobby. But other women don't go out and fuck other men in order to get better, I said with conviction. Actually, they do, John. 60% of men and 40% of women screw around during their marriage. It's the biggest reason for the 52% divorce rate in the state. Veronica is going through that stage in her life now, and she needs your support. I started to say something, but she raised her hands to stop me. No, I am not saying that you should let her fuck other men, but you need to talk to her, to hold her hand, and to lead her out of the place she's at. She needs you, and I'm afraid it's going to take a while. Women at our age, need their men to be strong for them, to support them, and be their rock. Bobby, I'm willing to do anything to help Veronica get by this, but if she lets another man stick his penis inside of her, we're through. No ifs, no buts, ever. And just so you know, if she disrespects me, I'll do everything I can to make things difficult for both her and her lover or lovers, she said. Bobby stayed silent again, and I hated when she was thinking like that. It always felt like she was judging me. The conversation moved on to lighter topics. You walked 100 miles in 2 days, she said. Yeah, so what? I replied. I could, so I did. I needed to think. Oh, nothing, she said. It was a hell of a feat, especially given the temperatures and road conditions at this time of year. What were you thinking? She said. She meant how could I not have thought about the conditions of the weather and the roads? But I extrapolated her words to mean my thoughts about Veronica, myself, and our marriage. Christmas was 3 weeks away. It was going to be a hell of a holiday. What was I going to find under the tree we still hadn't put up? A used condom, maybe with somebody else's sperm inside of it. I was angry. I just couldn't go home yet. Drop me at Peter's, I said. But it's Sunday, she replied. John, you need to. I can't go there right now. I need to be alone for a while longer. I'll go there tomorrow. You can tell her that, I said. She seemed to get it. I'll talk to her, Bobby said. She's really worried about you. I think she'll hold off on her plans, if she even has any, now that she knows how you feel. Just don't do anything hasty, okay? I won't. I just need more time to think, I said. She dropped me, and I saw her drive off as I went inside to my office. Roberta thought that Veronica would hold off on her plans. I, on the other hand, wondered if she hadn't already acted on them, and if so, with who? Hell of a thing when a man loses trust in his wife. I thought, hell of a thing. Ronnie, he's afraid he's lost you, said Roberta, as she was shucking her coat and hanging it on the rack just inside the front door. She hadn't even been bothered with a greeting. Nonsense, said Ronnie. I told him he'd never lose me. Nonsense. When you told him you were going to make love to other men. It real. Veronica, any man would be thinking what he's thinking. Veronica looked troubled. He told you then, she said. Of course he told me. I'm his sister. How long did you think you could keep something like that a secret anyway? Said Roberta. It's just something I've always wanted to understand, Veronica said, noticing her sister-in-law's look. Okay, do it. But you've lost him, your children, and most of your friends and family who care about you, Roberta said. Don't you see that? Veronica couldn't look at Roberta. I thought and hoped he would understand my need. This has been consuming me for a long time. Roberta, I don't know if I can stop myself. John has always understood me. He's just got to understand me this time, too. I can't live without him, but I don't know if I not do what I so need to do with this other, said Veronica. I can try, but I might end up just out and out cheating on him. That's the real danger, and I know it. You have no idea how overpowering this feeling, this need inside of me is, said Veronica. Why do you think that I never married? I'm not gay and I love men, but I am educated enough to know that I could never remain faithful to one man only. So again, I never married. But Veronica, you were married, and what you were proposing is so bizarre, given that little fact that you stand to lose all if you don't clean up your act muy pronto, said Roberta. I guess you're right, said Veronica. I was just... She started to sob. Roberta got up and went to her and held her. It'll be all right. I will stay with you tonight, and tomorrow when he returns I'll be here to referee this thing. Thank you, Roberta. I don't know if I could face him given his anger. But you have to give up this crazy idea of letting other men have you. But even more than that, you have to convince your husband that he has nothing to fear. And that may be one very large task, said Roberta. Veronica nodded. She gave a small smile. Her sister-in-law didn't see the slight narrowing of her eyes when she heard the last words. You have to convince your husband. Veronica realized that getting her husband's permission was never going to happen, and she had a choice to make. She could either give up her plans and never think about them again or try to convince her husband that she had changed her mind. Those were two very different things. But first, she needed to get him back because she loved him more than anything. That was definitely true. For the first time since I had stormed out, Veronica felt like she had things figured out. She would know for sure soon. The next morning, I woke up on the couch in my office, feeling a bit stiff. The long walk and uncomfortable sleeping arrangement had taken their toll on me. I was used to long runs, but endurance walks like that were something I had only done a few times, not in the last 10 years. I was kind of proud of myself, though I hadn't lost it completely, at least not yet. I arrived in front of the house a little after 10 a.m. Knowing that Callie and John Jr. would be at school, Veronica opened the door, hugged me tightly, and seemed genuinely relieved that I was okay and back. Oh, honey, I was so worried. Forget everything I said. I was an idiot. I talked a lot with Bobby, and she helped me understand. I'm just so glad you're back, said my wife. Whoa, I said. I was a little suspicious that she had given up on something that just a few days before she refused to even discuss giving up. There was Bobby, of course. I'm sure she had laid it out for her. But there was something. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Good. I hope you mean it. It was all too easy. Too cut and dried. I finally figured out what it was I couldn't put my finger on. I didn't trust her. Hell of a deal. We headed into the kitchen. Bobby was seated at the table, sipping her inevitable tea. Hi, Bobby. So you're here to back up her story? I snickered. Yes, so she said. We talked long and deep. John, she gets it. I hope you two can get past this. It really was just a silly thing. John, she said. I nodded. Even though I respected Bobby and her skills, I was still very wary. After the scene on Friday, I couldn't take anything for granted. Bobby hadn't seen or heard what happened. I had. In the next few days, Veronica tried hard to reassure me. I was almost ready to accept Bobby's explanation of it being just a silly thing. Then on Thursday, there was a phone call. I picked it up, heard something in the background over the line, and then whoever it was hung weird. I didn't mention the call to Veronica. I thought about what I heard in the background. I had it. The words were, call, cell. Call my cell? That had to be it. I went upstairs. I hoped I was right. Her cell was on the dresser. I checked the call history. I knew most of the numbers. I wrote down the 6 I did not know. I smiled the smile of the lucky. I didn't have a top security clearance for nothing. Working for the military, I knew I could find out who the numbers belonged to very easily. It would be illegal as hell, of course, but my very own boss had used his clearance to nail his cheating wife. But a year passed. I was about to do the same thing. This was not a no-fault state. If I caught her and had the evidence, her ass was mine, and her lovers too were lovers. I was feeling good. That night the sex was good, actually better than good. She'd sure made a turnaround over the past 6 days. I hoped I wouldn't have to be giving that up anytime soon. I was in the lab early. I had to catch Tim before he headed out into the field. Tim was our systems installer and field techie. He and I had downed more than few brews rooting for our alma mater, Ohio State. "Tim, got a minute?" I said as he was about to leave. He stopped. "Sure, John. What's up?" "Come into my office. I've got a problem and need your help," I said. We went inside, and Tim sat down in a chair in front of the desk. I took a seat next to him. "Tim, remember last year when Mr. Peters asked you to do some snooping for him?" He suddenly paid close attention. "Oh no, John, not you too," he said. "I'm not sure, but I have a reason to be worried. Can you help me?" "John, I can, but it's risky. You have to be really sure." "I am, Tim," I said. He nodded. "Okay, you got it. Just don't talk about it, not even to me. If I find anything, I'll contact you." "Are you okay with that?" he asked. "Yeah, I'll be patient. Just do some spot checking over the next month and let me know. If there's nothing, great. If there is—" "I understand," he said. "Here are some phone numbers I found on her cell. I don't know who they are. It might be nothing, but it could be important." He nodded. "Good. It's a good place to start. It's not even illegal if your name is on the account." "It is," I said, thinking my wife was being really foolish. She knew I was tech-savvy and that I had friends who were geniuses in the field. She knew I could find out anything that I wanted to. If she was going to cheat, she stood no chance of getting away with it unless she was able to utterly allay my concerns. That was pretty thin bread to be spreading your shit on, but it was the only thing that made any sense. Things settled down at the house. The kids were happy. Veronica was happy, and I pretended to be happy. A week later, my world crashed. Tim called and asked me to meet him at our favorite hangout. "I checked out the numbers," he said. "I got the addresses. Checked them out, too. And bingo, I caught her at 2 of them on successive days. John, I got pictures, film, and audio. Let it be enough to say that your wife is definitely cheating on you. Sorry, John. No sweat. Man, do me a favor. Get more, especially more film. I have plans for this broad. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to bring her and her lovers down. Got it." "John, you need to know something. This was too easy. I'm starting to wonder if she's not setting up some kind of trap. Keep that in mind. I just don't think your wife is this dumb. I won't be using any of this in court. I have another plan for it," I said. He smiled. Tim did love espionage. It took 3 weeks. It was a maze at the depth of information Tim was able to amass. I now had everything on these shirt-ass yahoos, but their DNA matrices, and I could get those too if it became necessary. Now it was just a matter of picking my time and battleground. I needed to speak with Bobby. We sat watching the film in her office. "Jesus, I can't believe it." "She even had me fooled," said my sister. "What pisses me off the most is that I know I've been getting sloppy seconds at least sometimes." I said, "John, forget about revenge. Dump her sorry ass, but forget about revenge. It'll only eat at you in the afterglow, and someday your kids are going to be making judgments about the both of you. Don't give her any ammunition," she said. I was writhing in mental agony, but I knew she was right. Revenge, at least anything overt, was out of the question. But that did not mean I couldn't get back at the lovers. She was going to be one very unpopular lady in very short order if I could work it. It turned out she had 5 lovers, not 6. The extra number I had was a wrong number. 4 of her lovers were married, and all of them had young children. 2 of them were men whose careers I could seriously damage with little effort. One was a state politician, and the other was a priest. Veronica had really messed up. The power of her sexual desires had clearly corrupted her. I now understood better why my sister had stayed single for so long. Veronica would have been better off if she had done the same. My only concern was for the children of the cheaters, and of course my own. About that there would be no compromise. I would allow Veronica open-ended visitation, but no boyfriends would ever be allowed near them, or else I was going to give her the house, but take everything else. I would move myself and the children into a very nice 3-bedroom condo close to the new elementary school that each of them would be attending. It was time to go to war. A techie friend of mine blurred my wife's face in 5 of the most damning videos and made copies for the wives and important others in the lives of the 5 assholes. 2 other copies were made to send to a specially selected TV station to bring down the poll on the priest. I thought about suing the assholes too, but that would have left Veronica open to cross in court, and I needed to protect her to some degree in order to protect my children. I was at least partially heeding Bobby's advice. It occurred to me that technology might just put an end to extramarital affairs at some time in the future. It was getting just too easy to nail these jackasses. On D-Day, I went to work early. I stared at my computer. I had it set up and ready to go. 1 double click and 4 husbands would likely soon be 4 ex-husbands, and 1 other guy would probably be spending a long time singing hymns in some remote monastery. I double-clicked. Oh yes, there would soon be hell to pay. I smiled. I was Joshua at the walls of Jericho, and damn, walls would be a-tumbling down. I told my boss I was taking the rest of the day off and went home. I wondered how long it would take for Veronica to hear the news, or if she would hear it at all. Just in case, I set up one of the videos to play. If she pressed a button, she would see herself in some very revealing film clips. It would mark the end of many things, including our marriage. I went upstairs to take a nap. I had an idea, so I wrote a note that said, "Play video." About an hour later, I heard her car and the garage door open and close. She was home. I waited to see the top of the stairs more or less out of sight. I saw her stop in front of the TV and read the tape note. She walked over to the player and punched the start button. I could see she was nervous. I couldn't see the video as it played, but no more than 1 minute into it, she fainted. The video continued to play. I came downstairs and turned off the machine. She came to about half an hour later. I was sitting on the couch waiting for her to come out of it. She saw me and said, "I guess you hate me, don't you?" in a tired voice. "Yes," I replied. "Is there any chance for me?" she asked. "None," I said. "I'll give you the house. The kids will stay with me. Everything else, stocks, bonds, savings will be mine. If you don't fight me, I'll let you keep a bit of your self-respect. If you do fight me, I will ruin you. John, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I needed to do it or thought I did. I'm sorry. I know you're Veronica, but what you've done is unforgivable. Way beyond the pale. I warned you. Now it's caught up with you and the men too. As we speak, they're in the process of being ruined. I wouldn't be answering your cell anytime soon. You're not going to be real welcome around them is the way I figure it. I have already leased a place. The children will be taken there by Bobby after school today. You will be allowed visitation whenever you want. But none of your men friends, not ever them. Are we clear?" She nodded. So far, to her credit, she hadn't begun to cry or make excuses. I figured that at least the tears would come about 2 minutes after I left. I proceeded to do that now. All of the marrieds were divorced by their wives and taken to the cleaners. The priest was reassigned, but I never found out where. The former politician is now selling used cars. Veronica still works for the dean and sees the kids often. It was a challenge explaining to them why Mommy wasn't living with us anymore, but we managed. Veronica dates occasionally, possibly through some of her office friends, but that's just a guess. I know for sure that she no longer has any interest in being promiscuous. She'll join us for Christmas since she's still family, but she knows she made a huge mistake and has had the decency not to push things with me. Sex can really cause problems. Second story. Hi everyone. I need some advice. I 25F found my boyfriend 27M of 2 years with another girl at his place. We were long distance at the time, planning to move in together within a year. After I caught him, he explained that their relationship started with just conversations. She was also long distance and became physical this past January. This has been going on since 6 months into our relationship. It's been a month since this all happened. We broke up, but he wants to try to make things work. I believe he's genuinely sorry, but I'm not sure he will change. I've always heard that once a cheater, always a cheater, even though I loved him a lot and was ready to move halfway across the country to be with him. I'm not sure I can trust him again. I know people say you're young and can start over easily, but I want to hear from those who have cheated and turned things around, or from those who stayed with a cheater. Did you ever rebuild trust? We both went to therapy. He understands why he cheated and wants to prove he's committed to making things work. I'm looking for honest opinions. Can a cheater really change?